Kia ora, and welcome back to another episode of Kiwi Real Estate Inside Out. I'm Denise Kono, joined by the ever-thoughtful Dr. Lee Kono. And today, Lee, we're rolling up our sleeves to tackle eco-homes and the future of CPD credits in New Zealand real estate. It's a big topic, but it's honestly never been more relevant. More Kiwis want sustainable living, and it's not just vibes anymore. Regulations and buyer expectations are hitting new highs for 2025.
That's spot on. I mean, if you told me back in, the early 2000s in the States, that eco-homes in New Zealand would go this mainstream this fast, I might have chuckled. But look at us now. These days, a green or sustainable home isn't just solar on the roof and hope for a sunny day. We're talking whole-of-life design. Think high insulation, double or triple glazing, efficient heating and cooling. Heat pumps are basically a given. Smart energy monitoring and water conservation through rainwater harvesting or gray water recycling if your council signs off. So many layers.
Exactly. And buyers are starting to expect features that just a few years ago were nice to have. FSC certified timber, low VOC paints for fresh, healthy air, recycled or locally sourced materials for a smaller carbon footprint. That's only a snapshot, but the NZ Green Building Council's Homestar rating is our touchstone here. 6 stars is becoming baseline. 8, now that gets tongues wagging at open homes.
The regulatory landscape has changed too. The New Zealand Building Code gets regular tweaks, now with even more emphasis on energy efficiency and lower emissions. In 2025, new updates mean even conventional builds are starting to look a lot more like what a few years ago counted as eco. And if you're eyeing that Homestar or Green Star rating, you're on a path to both quality and compliance.
You're reminding me, Lee, do you remember that first green home showcase we saw in Virginia? I always tell people it had the wildest features for back then. Thermal mass flooring, triple glazed windows, you name it. Fast forward, and now our Kiwi listings, even the starter homes, are demanding features that would have seemed science fiction in the 90s. The evolution's real, and the curve's not slowing down. We need this conversation now more than ever. So if you're a salesperson or agent listening, you're going to want to get your head around the new CPD requirements for eco-homes, because you literally can't afford not to. Continuous professional development already keeps us on our toes. But with all these regulatory shifts in 2025, sustainable property knowledge is front and center, not some optional extra.
Yeah, the REA doesn't muck about. Beginning next year, the expectation is you'll have CPD hours specifically covering sustainable housing practices, like not just a quick lunch and learn on double glazing, but properly accredited modules. We're seeing more recognized providers pop up, some big names. The NZ Green Building Council, they do a great Selling Sustainable Homes course. And Brands is rolling out more eco-design workshops too.
Don't forget the practical stuff too. Our own team at eAgent NZ has felt this change firsthand. The first time I tried to pull together a CPD session on eco features, it was honestly a bit like teaching cats to swim. Nobody had the materials. Nobody knew what counted as proof. I think back then, 1/4 of the salespeople didn't know what Homestar rated. But as we've evolved, now it's embedded, and we're drawing on legit NZ case studies, proper CPD verification, follow-up. It's no longer guessing. It's clear and getting easier to access every year.
And for agents, it's not just about ticking a compliance box. The market is shifting under our feet, and upskilling in eco-home knowledge is real leverage with clients. Being able to confidently recommend say why certain insulation details exceed the NZBC or what actually qualifies for a green mortgage, that's what differentiates a basic agent from someone buyers trust in these new waters. Let's dig into what's actually working out there and what's not. If you look around New Zealand right now, regions like Wellington have jumped in with both feet on eco-homes. There was that auction last year, a new-build Homestar 8 house with passive solar, rainwater harvesting, the works. It smashed the reserve by nearly 12% and sold after just 1 week on the market. That's unheard of for a niche build, even 5 years ago.
Yes, and buyers actually showed up ready to pay a premium. The take-home for agents? If you present features like energy savings, better indoor air, and legitimate comfort year-round, plenty of folks are keen, even if it's 10 to 15% pricier than neighboring stock. I just worked with a couple in Christchurch who paid top dollar for a passive house build. They were honestly more interested in the low energy bills and healthy air than in the flash ensuite, and they're now raving about their $100 winter power bills. Word spreads fast.
But it's not always easy, right? We've talked to agents who've hit brick walls with buyers, especially around higher upfront costs, council sign-offs on alternate materials, or even just a lack of awareness about what Homestar means. Successful case studies almost always come down to one thing. Whoever's selling can translate the practical value, not just the eco buzzwords.
Yeah, that's critical. Agents seeing success walk buyers through the maths, like invest $50,000 more now, save $2,000 a year on energy, plus your home could sell for 5% more in 5 years' time. But it's got to come with real-world honesty. Be upfront that the green premium exists, but paint the full return on investment picture. Incentives help too, pointing them to green mortgage deals or council rebates. Otherwise, buyers can be gun-shy until they see the tangible benefits.
Exactly. And don't forget health. Good indoor air quality, fewer allergies, low VOC materials. Buyers are chasing those outcomes. That's why sustainable homes are holding value and selling swiftly. We're seeing proof across Auckland, Wellington, even out in the regions, if agents package the narrative well.
So let's talk about how you actually get the expertise. CPD options now go well beyond the old theory stuff. There are accredited programs laser-focused on sustainable housing. Homestar Accredited Professional, for example, or the Green Star Practitioner tracks from NZGBC. These aren't just tick the box either. The idea is to skill up, really understand what makes an eco-home both compliant and desirable.
And there's genuine incentive for providers and agencies to partner up with bodies like Brands or the Green Building Council. Host a training, get experts in, and suddenly your team's in the loop about everything from passive design to the nuts and bolts of rainwater harvesting. More practical, less fluff, which is what we need.
Absolutely. I think the next step is mixing case study analysis with hands-on workshops, walking through a Homestar build, seeing air tightness tests, or even Q&A time with buyers who've lived in eco-homes. It clicks for agents when they can touch, see, and ask, how does this actually change a buyer's daily life? Not just theory, but that lived experience.
Look, compliance isn't going backwards. Upcoming CPD mandates are only getting stricter. So if you're running an agency, plugging into these focused trainings, lots of which the REA now formally recognizes, is the safest and smartest way to stay ahead. It'll keep on getting more hands-on, more site visits, more working knowledge, not just booklets at a desk.
To wrap up, let's talk engagement. Agents, this is where you move the needle. You want buyers who value sustainable living? You've got to pitch the right story. Targeted marketing does wonders. Showcase actual utility bill reductions. Talk up the low maintenance, the long-term health perks. People love concrete numbers and stories more than generic jargon.
Yeah, training agents to communicate that value without making it sound preachy or too technical is vital. Buyers often ask, will this pay off? How much does a home star rating actually save me? If you can break down savings, energy, water, even green mortgage perks, or explain why double glazing matters more than it sounds, you build real trust. Side note, I always fumble the stats here. What is it, Denise? 5 to 10% higher resale value for green homes? Around there, right?
You're right, at least according to Quotable Value in their latest report. But more important is explaining those numbers in plain language. And honestly, running a workshop for buyers, walking them through features, incentives, showing them case studies, can turn maybe into let's sign. It's about giving people the confidence and knowledge to see long-term value in sustainable property.
Building trust isn't rocket science. Show, don't just tell. Be honest that there's an upfront cost, but map out the returns and answer the buyer's specific lifestyle questions. When buyers feel you get it, they become your brand's best advocates for eco homes.
All right, that's us for today. Thanks, Lee, as always, for the insight, and thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're an agent wanting to stay ahead or a buyer with eco dreams, there's a lot more to dig into, and we'll be back with more of these deep dives soon. Lee, anything to add before we sign off?
Just this. Stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to ask the tricky questions, whether you're an agent or a buyer. The future really is green, and being in front of it is better than scrambling behind. Catch you next time, Denise.
Love it. Thanks, everyone. See you on the next episode of Kiwi Real Estate Inside Out. Ka kite.